How many have you forgiven today? Chapter 8, Part 2.
Why didn't you tell me that you got a mare friend?
Anon jumps in shock at the sudden voice and quickly turns to face it. Floating beside him is Spitfire. His shocked look quickly turns to happiness. Hey, it's been a while since I've seen you, Anon says, genuinely happy to see her. She lands beside him.
I know, I've been busy, as usual.
She then waggles her eyebrows.
So have you, if that feather is anything to go by?
Anon is confused now. He looks at the feather in his hand and then back at Spitfire. What do you mean?
You don't know?
No. She shakes her head.
That's a primary feather. Only some pony special will give you their primary feather like that.
Anon hates this place the longer he stays here. So much stuff about this culture he doesn't understand. However, the real question is where he got the feather. There seems to be a mystery on his hands. Curiouser and curiouser. Anon moves the feather closer to Spitfire until it's touching her fur. He can hear her chuckle.
It's not from me as much as I like you. I don't think we've known each other long enough for me to be interested.
She then bumps him with her hips.
Get to know me more and maybe we could fool around.
Anon feels his face redden. That makes Spitfire laugh at his embarrassment.
Lighten up, Anon. I'm just messing with you.
Anon can only shake his head as he looks over the feather again. Why does this color look so familiar? What pony does he know that's yellow?
Oh, Anon, I'm so glad I found you.
Anon freezes as the pieces fall into place. The voice that just called to him, the yellow feather in his hand, this is Fluttershy's feather. Anon painstakingly turns to where he heard the voice. Fluttershy is standing there looking up at him with a smile. She notices an odd look that he's giving her.
You don't look so good, Anon. Are you alright?
Anon closes his eyes and takes a slow breath in and lets it out. He can't overreact right now, that won't solve anything, only the truth will solve his problems. When he opens his eyes, he notices that both Spitfire and Fluttershy are looking at him with concern. Anon takes a feather and puts it into his pocket. He'd rather do this somewhere private. It's probably another misunderstanding, like that one time when he was naked in bed with the princesses. Anon clears his throat some. Sorry, Fluttershy, this is Spitfire. Spitfire, Fluttershy. The both of them look at each other. Spitfire extends her hoof, and Fluttershy does the same.
So, you know Anon?
Spitfire asks as they shake hooves. Kinda. Anon interrupts them before they start talking. He needs to get this entire thing off of his mind. One less thing to worry about on this day will be a saving grace. Sorry if this is sudden, but are you busy, Fluttershy? Anon asks. She shakes her head.
Not at all. What do you need?
I need to talk to you. Can we head on back to the castle?
Okay.
Great. Anon looks back to Spitfire. Will you be free later? Spitfire nods.
Yeah, today's my day off.
Oh, cool. Maybe we can hang out? Spitfire looks at Anon confused. Does this have something to do with that feather? Spitfire looks at Fluttershy and takes notice of her color. And then it finally hits her. Well, it's not any of her business anyways.
Yeah, I'll stop by the castle later.
Anon is quick to turn on his heels, heading towards the castle. Fluttershy looks over at Spitfire and pauses for a second.
It was nice meeting you.
She whispers.
Nice meeting you too.
Fluttershy quickly trots after Anon, leaving Spitfire alone. Not that she minds. She'll probably head over to her shop for a bit. It is her day off, after all. Fluttershy has been following Anon the entire way through Canterlot and back to the castle. The entire time, Anon has not spoken a single word to her. They've just been walking in silence. She hopes that he's alright. She honestly hasn't known him long enough to know if this attitude is a good or bad thing, but it kind of reminds her of how he acted around her before they talked. Finally, Anon makes it to his room and shows Fluttershy inside. Once he's sure that they're alone, he speaks to her. I'm not gonna make this longer than it needs to be. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the feather. How did I get this? Fluttershy perks up when she sees the feather.
Oh, that's easy. You took it from me.
I took it. She nods.
Yesterday you asked if you could have it. You were a bit intoxicated, but I was alright with it.
Fluttershy knows about yesterday? Well, this could be good. Here's his chance to learn more about what happened. Well, tell me everything you know. Fluttershy is glad to know that Anon isn't in a bad mood. Not only that, but he wants to talk to her. She's hopeful that this is a small step towards a possible friendship. She doesn't expect it to happen overnight, but every little bit counts.
Alright. First it started when I was heading towards the dining hall.
In the past,
I hope the princesses don't mind me being a bit late.
Fluttershy whispers to herself. Fluttershy is walking down towards the dining room, where the princesses and Anon are waiting. She knows deep down that Anon and her will probably never be friends, but she's happy knowing that he's at least willing to be around her. It's a far different side of him that she's used to seeing. Now she actually gets to eat dinner with him. She wonders if he'll eat any meat, as she finds her mind worrying over his dietary health. Maybe that's just her guilt from the past, but she knows that it's just in her nature to worry. As Fluttershy approaches the dining room, she can already hear laughing coming from within. She's surprised when she could clearly hear the most masculine voice laughing inside. Is Anon laughing? She doesn't know of any other pony that should be in there, other than Blue Blood, and Fluttershy knows that he's been stuck in his room trying to figure out what to wear for dinner. Fluttershy hesitates at the door. Should she intrude? Maybe she shouldn't. Anon is, after all, having a fun time, so maybe she would ruin it. However, the choice in the matter wasn't up to her. The doors to the dining room fly open to reveal the two sisters and Anon. What Fluttershy notices first is the strong sense of alcohol. The next thing she notices is the large smiles on all three of their faces. Anon looks down and a smile seems to grow as he spots Fluttershy. Hey, Flutterby, what you up to? Fluttershy can sense that something is not right here. Anon doesn't seem like he's coherent, and she can assume that it's probably from alcohol. She's seen more than a few ponies get drunk during cider season, so she knows the signs.
Oh, Anon.
She flies up and places a hoof on her shoulder.
Here, let me get you to bed. You shouldn't be walking around like this.
There's no problem, Fluttershy.
I insist that you get some rest. I've seen what drinking can do to a pony.
There ain't no ponies here, just one human and 3 ponies. He chuckles a bit to himself.
Anon, I want to do something fun.
Luna says, and Anon nods. Yeah, for fun. Let's go to the Evergreen and fight some stuff. Luna's eyes shine brightly at that, but both Celestia and Fluttershy don't seem to like that idea.
You can't do that!
Fluttershy shouts.
You could seriously get hurt. I agree.
Celestia nods her head. Killjoy, Anon says. He then looks at Luna. What else is there to do?
I say we find something to tip over.
Anon nods. I can get behind that. Anon and Luna both walk over to something and start pushing.
Anon?
Fluttershy calls out. Not now, Butterfly, I'm pushing things.
That's a pillar.
Fluttershy states aloud. Both Anon and Luna look up to see that what they are pushing is in fact a pillar. Well, so much for that plan.
Now that you have that out of your system,
Celestia speaks up.
I suggest that we go to the fair.
Anon and Luna look at each other, the both of them shrugging at that. Fine by me, Anon says. Fluttershy doesn't know what to do to stop them. She knows that they can get into a lot of trouble if she lets them go. However, she is brought from her thoughts as a shadow hangs over her. She looks up to see Anon is standing there looking down at her. He crouches down so they're face to face. I know that you're not a bad pony. Fluttershy is surprised at how clear and articulate that sentence was. Did Anon really believe that?
Anon.
Fluttershy jumps in shock as she feels a small twinge in her wing. She looks over to see that Anon pulled one of her primaries out. Mind if I keep this? Anon asks in his oddly coherent tone. Fluttershy can feel her face redden as she looks down at her hooves.
Anon, I don't think I really feel the same way.
Fluttershy looks back up and doesn't see Anon. Instead, she notices that he's standing next to Luna as he tickles one of her ears with Fluttershy's feather on one side of her ear. Then when she looks that way, he quickly moves his hand away, only to repeat the process. Fluttershy lets out a breath that she wasn't even aware she was holding as she once again faces the floor. For a second there, she actually thought, well, that's not important, she needs to stop them before things get out of hoof. Fluttershy looks up to find that no pony or human is left in the hallway. She quickly spins around to find that they're no longer in sight. Her shoulders slouch as she lets out a sigh. The chances of finding them are slim. All she can do now is wait and maybe stop them when she finds them again. Back in the present.
And that was the last time I saw the 3 of you.
Fluttershy finishes her story. Really? Fluttershy nods. So this feather is meaningless. She nods again with a visible blush. Well, that's a load off of my mind. So, we went to the fair?
I can't say for sure. All that I know is that the 3 of you left in a hurry.
So what happened with you and Blue Blood? Anon asks curiously.
That's the weird thing. Blue Blood never came to dinner. I just assumed that he fell asleep in his room.
Anon scratches his chin in thought. It's slim, but it could possibly be another lead. Thank you for the help, Fluttershy.
Oh, it was no problem.
Anon walks over to his door and opens it. He stops briefly and turns to face Fluttershy. You're going to be leaving today, right? He asks, and she nods.
I've already packed. I was just walking to the station to buy the ticket when I bumped into you.
Anon isn't sure why he's doing this, but Fluttershy has been helpful to him, so it's the least he can do to repay her. There's going to be a party on Saturday. You wouldn't be interested in coming, would you? Fluttershy's frozen in shock. Did Anon just invite her to a party?
Yes, I would love to go.
Alright, I'll be here at the castle. Pinky and a few friends will be here. Anon can already feel a sense of awkwardness building. I gotta go. I'll see you then, Fluttershy.
See you, Anon.
Fluttershy can feel a smile on her face. She can do this, she knows that she can. It'll just take baby steps to get Anon to be her friend. If she's good at anything, it's taking things slow. And the recovery period for everyone is going pretty strong as of late. I just hope it keeps on going. Now let's get on to our super generous donators. Top donators are 630, J10 Man, Darkside, Only One Thing, Dash of Evergreen, and Ceru Orion. Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Rollins, Stu Hex, Swordbrother and Mordred, Omicron Lyrae, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Hudzaza, Riot Soul, Iron Sky, Badass Waffle, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.